Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, and before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee. And so it's a wonderful story. And my name is Magdalena, and I live at Jordanville in New York, and I'm Orthodox now. However, I wasn't Orthodox at the time that my daughter became pregnant. She was very upset, and she didn't know what she was going to do. And I took her for a walk in a beautiful place, and I sat down with her, and I just said to her, you know, in the Bible it says that God knows that baby that's in your womb, and knew that baby even before the baby was conceived, and that God will name that baby. He knows that baby, and he'll name that baby through you, and that there's room in my house for that baby and you, and it can be okay. It's all right. And she was still struggling. I could see she was struggling, so all I did was pray. I just kept praying that she would choose not to abort the baby. In the end, thank God, this is a story, a good news story, because in the end, she said she made the appointment 3 times to have the abortion, and she decided not to. And I suggested that she go to the pro-life center they have in Syracuse, New York, and she did go there on her own. She didn't want me to go with her. And after she visited them and they showed her what really... She had no idea. And she said as soon as she saw that, she knew that she couldn't abort this baby. So he was born, and she named him Jeremy, which is, interestingly enough, is the scripture, where the scripture came from. And this is a picture of Jeremy, and he has a sweater that was knit by somebody who supported the pro-life movement and knitted sweaters for babies that were born. I'm so glad he was born. And Allison also says she is so glad that she made the decision to have him, that she, after the baby was born, she cried a lot looking at him and thinking that I almost aborted you. I'm so glad I didn't. And even now he's 26 years old, and she even says now, when I told her I got her permission to do this, to share her story, she said, "Oh, Mom, I'm so glad that I have Jeremy in my life. I just can't imagine my life without Jeremy." And then what God did for us was, a couple of years later, I became Orthodox. And then shortly after that, Jeremy, who went to church with me with his brother who was born after him, they both decided they wanted to be Orthodox, so they were baptized on the Feast of the Three Holy Children in the fiery furnace. And they became Orthodox. And then 3 years ago, in 2010, my daughter Allison, this is Allison, she took on the name Elizabeth. And I forgot to tell him this is my father. And I should say that my father only saw Jeremy once in his life, and that Jeremy says he still remembers it. He says, and that was a gift that God gave us, to give Allison a child just before my father died, just like with you, you know, that you were given a child in your family before your father died. How many families does that happen, that God gives the gift of somebody becoming pregnant in the family just before, you know, somebody... I want to encourage anybody that happens to see this video that they too would support the gift of life and the pro-life movement. I know that in Russia there's an organization called Warriors of Life, and that is a good channel for people to support pro-life. They can help in many, many different ways. And just to know about it and to pass it on to somebody that might be in the position that my daughter was in when I told her about, you could help save a life like Jeremy's life. And now that's a very good thing to do. When I got her permission, she said, please, she sent me a text back, and she says, please thank Dmitri for the work that he's done and is still doing, and may God bless him always. O heavenly King, Comforter, Spirit of truth, who art everywhere present, and fillest all things, treasury of good gifts, and giver of life, come and abide in us, and cleanse us of all impurity, and save our souls, O good one. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one.